recording. Okay. So I'm just looking at the videos you got uploading right now. I mean, there's a lot of different directions we can go in this, but I want to say that I realize that like this all stems from my sleep problems. Like I just lose the ability to sleep, and I'll talk more to you and less to the other people. Like this just stems from my sleep problem. So basically I realized that in order to actually make this, like, basically, I need to do cutting edge science with stuff I buy off Amazon and the internet in order to stay alive because medical science can't help me. But I'm in a situation where that's actually possible, at least right now. So that's where I'm like, okay, I have to make it so that it's always possible for me to do this. So I can't have this fail. Like I have to make it so like my actions yield inevitable success as much as possible. So um basically like once I knew that I had something, like once I knew that like other people would try my methods, that they would work, but that the real once that happened, I thought that people were gonna start like I thought literally once word got out, like I thought once I posted the first video of me like helping someone with fatal insomnia get better, they were gonna like literally like share it everywhere and it was gonna become like a global sensation. And I was really surprised it didn't because I'm like, don't people understand what that means? Like that means that like the whole paradigm is wrong and that whoever adapts first to the new paradigm is gonna like be rich and powerful. But people didn't realize it. Like even and so then I started getting louder and louder until I literally just started contacting all the people I could think of at the time. And I wasn't that healthy at the time. So it wasn't an exhaustive list because again, like that would be a waste of effort. But I contacted enough people that I was like, they're like people just aren't receptive to the idea. Like they're not receptive. Like it's sort of like the Overton window. It's like you can cure fatal insomnia, sure. You're not going to convince people you've done it, except people who also have fatal insomnia, but then they won't know what to believe. And then they're going to be quiet because they don't want to be looked at as crazy.
Well, the guy that invented the modern fridge made zero money off of it and basically died penniless because there's a giant guy who owned he would store ice and like get ice from lakes, and he owned a giant empire, and he was like, this is God made ice and that's like inferior stuff, and he basically was really wealthy and suppressed it. So I
Yeah,
mean,
so that's even so
the
that's what
typewriter, there's a long history of people who came up with brilliant inventions and made nothing of them.
yeah,
But
and that's what I
people
started
didn't
thinking.
know. People didn't recognize how brilliant it was, and it took a long time.
Or they did, and they didn't want it to get popular. But I started thinking that like so I started thinking that like once I realized that people wouldn't recognize the idea's brilliance, it's not even an idea, it's just more of observation. It's like I had all these symptoms that they say are fatal, and then I was able to reverse them by means they say are impossible, like or like really bad for you, but it worked. Like there's something wrong here. And then I was able to replicate that, and no one really pays attention. And that's kind of like so I was like, that's these are people who've been to like 8 different doctors. They have like engineering degrees. They're like these are like successful people that you think people would listen to, but like they don't even want to talk really. Like people like there's a whole mental health problem in the country. It's like how the country treats people with mental health problems because you don't understand them. And I've kind of been on both sides of the fence because like I've been so fucked up from not sleeping that I can't think straight. So now I'm like a mental patient. And it's like no one helps you, and everyone's basically like if you act like you actually need help, they'll just lock you up, and then you can't do the little you're able to do that actually sustains you. So it's like this weird thing. And then as I've gotten out of that, so I'm on both sides. So like basically people with really bad insomnia, it's like not really talked about. And I think I've actually changed that a lot because I think that me talking about it for like my whole life, because I've talked about it since I was 16 because I've just been my whole life. So like I think I'm actually changing that. But over YouTube, I can change that even faster. But I basically realized that the problem was basically that people, like, the medical system is resistant to the idea fundamentally. Like, they don't like the idea that there's this big obvious thing that they missed. That that financial incentives prevented them from. It's like it's impossible to convince someone of something if their job prevents them from understanding it. That's the situation we're in with the medical system. But the problem is, it's like, oh well, like, people will give you their money if you have a good idea. It's like, actually not even really, because the main objection that people gave me is that it wasn't covered by healthcare, and I was like, it's just this giant healthcare fiat currency slave debt cartel that's like effing crazy. And I saw this whole thing and I'm like, I'm going to expect this same system that bailed out the banks for 2008. Yeah, they're gonna welcome me for with open arms after basically telling me I was crazy when I was dying and not helping me. Yeah, fucking right. Like, it's like, okay, like, there's gonna be a tipping point, and this is what I realized too. There's gonna be a tipping point.
Wait, Dan,
So
quick thing.
okay,
Do you want
so
this
let's
on?
say
Do you want the
what?
last video on your on the new channel or the old one?
Old
I'm just
one. That's going to be a bridge between the channels. Is like, there's Week to Warrior content, and then there's Week to Warrior adjacent content, which includes how the Week to Warrior stuff gets made, like the behind the scenes more of. But like, basically, what I realize is, like, if I'm going to get this to be accepted, I could either, there's a few, like, it's like I have to work on the insomnia problem for my whole life, and there's some limitations around this. It's like, and this is kind of like how my reasoning starts, is like, so first I solve the problem, I can sleep, I fix my brain, great, I actually have a thing that works. Now I'm like, how do I make sure that I can continue to work on this forever so that the problem doesn't come back, because it's done that. And I always have access to the resources to fix it, because, like, let's say like economic instability happens, but like, I don't, this is good. It's good because it's forced me to think at a higher level strategically than I believe almost anyone has ever been forced to think for a longer period of time on one singular topic. And like, I didn't even want this for like selfish reasons. Like, I just wanted to, like, not have to watch my family watch me die while descending into madness without comprehending why. You know what I mean? Like, it was like this very pure desire to just not have the worst thing I can imagine happen. Um, so I've just spent so much time thinking about it that I've come to really interesting ideas that I believe are unique. And now I've reached a point where the only way I can actually even capitalize on the extent of the scope of the ideas is to share them on YouTube, because at this point, like, the main, like, I'll explain, there's other things that are going to come into play, but like, I'll go back to the constraints around how I have to figure this out. I have to figure it out in a way that allows me to continue innovating. Like, I have to remain in a science primary position that's lifestyle driven, because again, the constraints of my illness make it so that I have to be lifestyle focused or it redevelops. And that's what jujitsu kind of keeps in place. It's like jujitsu keeps my lifestyle on track. So it's like I have to have a means of creating infinite value over an infinite time span. Or I'll work to that part later. After a means of creating infinite value, because I had no idea what my needs could entail, that enables me to work on science primarily in a lifestyle centric manner, which is bizarre. I mean, that's like it's literally like I exist in the crack between what society has done and what society still needs to do. Um, and I think I've solved that, and that's why I'm so the way I am, because I couldn't sleep, which everyone tells is the cornerstone to health. And I need to basically build. It's like I need actual compassion. It's like why I'm like all the no pain no gain people. I'm like, you're all delusional, because like I tried that. Like, um oh, okay. Can I do that in like 15 minutes? Okay, wait, I'm gonna mute you for a second. Then I'll be right back to this. Rachel just needs my
Let's see if I can pause.
Back. So back to where I was. Hey, is that gonna mess up your ability to upload it? They split into two recordings or
No, it's positive.
oh you pause. Okay, so basically, I need to so then it's like, well, how do I optimize my lifestyle? It's like I need to optimize my lifestyle around the thing that's going to create the most high level thinking in order to produce someone who's able to actually make that work. And that's why I focus on jujitsu because like it works for me to produce that level of thinking. And then I apply jujitsu thinking to everything else. And the main thing I think about with jujitsu is like the inevitability of it. Like jujitsu really creates a situation where I will survive until the point where I can obtain victory. Because victory, in order to obtain victory, I don't need to control. Like if I can make you predictable, I can make you dead. And jujitsu is a giant system for making people predictable. So what I realized is ultimately I could make this crazy idea work if I could make the reaction to the pursuit of the idea predictable. Because if I can make the reaction to the pursuit of the idea predictable, then I could use the reaction in order to accomplish the idea. So, and this is literally in my from gratitude to the God engine thing. I kind of like, and I progressively realized this over many videos on my channel. But basically, I kind of realized that like I'm like, how do I make sure that this succeeds no matter what? And I'm like, well, I have to create a scenario where the mere documentation of this is going to yield successful business practices. So I'm like, okay, that works because again, I've already spent 20,000 hours working on this subject. So I'm well into my creative active phase of mastery. That's the only reason this works is because I have mastery over this subject. If I didn't have mastery over this subject, this strategy wouldn't work, but it does. So I can just literally be sleep deprived or whatever and just go off on the subject endlessly because I have math. Like that's what mastery is. It's just mastery. Um, so I'm like, okay, how do I make the mastery grow forever? Because it's kind of lifestyle contingent. Because if my brain stops working, it stops working. And make my success at this system inevitable. And I was like, okay, well, the bottles. So I eventually realized like supplements. There's a lot of thought that went into this. That's on my channel. And that's even like one thing I realized is like if I build a YouTube channel around sharing my genuine thoughts while they come to me, then there's always a reason for people to watch my previous videos, which means that I don't really need to worry about a central theme to my videos as long as the aim of my life is correct, because my life itself will be the central theme. And then I reread Self Reliance by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and then he was like talking about that. And then this is where I get like collective unconscious vibes. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy how like all the great writers of history are describing this trend, which makes me very confident that it's possible. But again, that could even just be my applied selection bias that I'm seeing the world through the lens I bring to it, and that I'm simply able to impose that lens coherently on the world because I've given myself the brain metabolism and time to do so. But it doesn't even matter because the fact that I'm communicating these ideas to people on YouTube who are watching my channel who've been pre-selected for precisely their orientation towards these ideas makes it inevitable. It's like even the fact that like I'm putting out videos right now that are like me Devin taking over the world. It's like even people who don't click on those videos are seeing the video and not clicking on it. And there's a lot of people seeing it and not clicking on it because my channel gets a lot of views. So even videos that don't get viewed still get put into the collective unconscious. And then people start thinking a little differently. And then they're like, then like YouTube content creators see that. And then they're like, I could make an even ballsier video. And that's why I make videos the way I do, because I realize that creators get cues from themselves and how, from each other and how to make videos. So if I could even make this strategy work a little bit, it would encourage other content creators to begin to copy it, which would change the cultural zeitgeist to create an internet culture that is oriented around world domination. The reason I knew this would happen is I did the coaching thing. I was in the whole coaching phenomenon that wave when it was big, and this would happen like every 3 weeks. Some new idea would dominate the entire coaching market, and I saw like this rapid dissipation of ideas, and I realized that this takes place at different time scales in different places. And I kind of just thought about that a lot. And then I realized if I set things up in a certain way, I could make it that by the time people started copying me, the fact that they were copying me would actually be promotion for me. It's like how Jesus says, others have done the work for you, but you shall benefit. I'm like, huh, okay. How do I like maximize all of this? And like YouTube's a way to do it, building this audience, and YouTube's a way to do it, being as radical as possible to inspire other people, which creates a safety and numbers phenomenon while also training like it just trains people to think in terms of power. So then my content becomes more comprehensible. And then after 10 years, when that trend dies down, I'll be left standing. And then people will be like, oh, wow, that is like, isn't that funny? Like, he's still here. And then 20 years from now, they're going to be like, wait, it does look like Devin's actually taking over the world. Wait, everyone stop him. And then like, there's going to be no backlash because it's going to be like, wait, you mean like how he told everyone he was going to do it 20 years ago? And then like the trend he said he was going to start 10 years ago. And then like all the people who literally were going to oppose him, but realized no one was understanding what was happening. So they just started working for him because the time between visual sight and understanding is so large that I can literally have my entire recruitment process happen within that time frame. Because while people are studying me to take me down, they're seeing how incapable of basically realizing the future is here people are. So then they're going to start asking the same questions as me. And then they're going to start investing in a future where ideas are more readily disseminated, which is basically going to be a future of people with higher brain metabolism, which is the future that I'm working for. And the mechanisms that I've created for doing so are the only really known mechanisms for increasing brain metabolism that work because they're the only things that worked for me. And I have the most acute case of brain metabolic dysfunction feedback loop that has ever been reversed successfully. So that's just sort of the way things go. And then the fact that I can document that again is going to kind of blow the minds of everyone who sees this. They're going to either think that I'm genius or crazy, which is good either way, because they're either going to like, I either want people to dismiss me or watch me for entertainment or be invested in my ideas. And then at the point in time where you start buying the supplements, the bottles last forever. So it's like creates this compounding effect where you're going to use the bottles for things and the bottles are going to last, which is just going to draw even more attention to the channel and to the activities over time. Which, because the initial sales came from those very activities to begin with, is only going to accelerate the case. Because if the sales came from ads, then we might be required to run ads forever. But if the sales come from natural attention built by the system I just described, then any attention got from the very physical presence of the bottle itself can only cause that feedback loop to hit exponential function. And there's many different things that I've built in. And then let's say they cancel me. They're only going to cancel me if they're able to basically understand or even misunderstand. Because if they really understand what I'm talking about, they're not going to cancel me. But if they misunderstand what I'm talking about, then that means that they've simply seen, that means that like, basically that means that outrage is won and that someone somehow saw one of my videos and they're just such a little fucker that they decided that they were going to spin some giant story about how I'm evil just to hurt me. But if they do that, all they're going to do is direct people to look at my actual content, which is going to vindicate me. And then let's say they block me from YouTube, then all the content's saved, so I can just upload it to Rumble anyway, which I'm probably going to start doing anyway, so it's already there. And just periodically, like once a month, do like a Rumble backup or something. So that in the case that I do get banned from YouTube or whatever, I can just take my content to wherever it doesn't ban me and then just continue making content at the same velocity I've trained myself to with a new audience of people who followed me from wherever I've been. And then I just pitch my new thing as, well, you're not going to get the truth anywhere else because they blocked me for not actually being racist because they didn't bother to understand nuance. So then all the children who want to understand nuance, because it's always the children, are going to watch me. And that's the reason YouTube became popular is basically its youth appeal, which is, I think, why the forces of evil ultimately want to encourage abortion because the interests of the youth are the only thing that corrects the corruption of the old. So that's why the old should serve the production of the young. which is also why I have a family and why I'm fundamentally building around that message, because anyone else with a family is also going to buy into that message. And at the end of the day, I'll have been like, even if I fail completely, my kids will still be alive, preaching the same message. And the mere fact that they were able to maintain their freedom for a generation while speaking the truth in today's society, given how paranoid you and everyone else is going to be all the marketing that they need in order to fuel the systems they've created with even more attention and money and resources, which, because the systems are oriented around the production of healthy, productive, free individuals, will create a situation where we outpopulate everyone anyway over many generations. And the inevitability of this will eventually be perceived. And it just generates more and more and more attention. I mean, I think that's why people came to the New World. I think like this idea has basically been lurking in the minds of people like Henry Ford and Thomas Paine and Ralph Waldo Emerson for hundreds of years. It's not even my idea. Like this is just sort of like the ambition of great minds in great times. And I don't even think that I'm doing anything other than popularizing the very sentiments that motivated people to build civilization, which is great because I don't even need to worry that this is going to become popular, because it's obviously going to become popular because it's been popular so many times before and we're just at the down end of the previous cycle. So now I'm the first person talking about this. So because I made the most videos on the subject while building systems that build the ability to continue talking about this, based on the very observations that underlie this reality that people like Emerson are seeing, is going to create a feedback loop that gives me the most money, the most attention, and the most influence, which is going to basically create a situation where all the wealthy people are going to try to kill me. But at the point where they even notice that that's happened, I'll already have encouraged all the intelligent people to move to New England. I'll have employed the smartest ones of them. I'll have disseminated a new sort of New England pride that's contingent on the very sort of ideas that make New England hard to conquer. Um, while also building my fortress in the very land that's never been conquered, which stood up to the British, and building basically a veritable army of people through manufacturing plants, jujitsu gyms connected to company enterprises, and a system of spreading information that's basically unfuckable. And that's one of the reasons I'm almost courting getting canceled, because I'm like, fuck it. Like, if we get canceled, then we just start like again. What I really want is an audience of people who are interested in following me because of these ideas and because I'm living the ideas out. Because if I have that, then I'll never be canceled, because then I could just build a free speech app, which would become the most popular app over however long that takes, which would make me the most money. Because ultimately, the system that I've built and that I'm growing is the only system right now that can, in an articulated way, consistently turn sick, dying people into healthy, high performing people and prevent said people from becoming dying while also enabling them to raise their own families of healthy individuals with the same understanding, which is basically the big thing that's going to stop everyone from succeeding in the future. Because in the future, I don't even know if people are going to be able to wage wars because they're all going to be so sick. It's like, oh, cancer's on the rise. All these things are on the rise. Like, you know what's really on the rise? Brain dysfunction. So we don't even know how bad the situation is because the people telling us how bad things are aren't even healthy enough to look at things accurately. And I can tell you that for a fact because I tried talking to all of them and they couldn't help me. So they're not going to be able to help you. Like, I'm just
I saw that
experiencing this
video. I'm not sure
as
how
advanced.
accurate it is, talking about how Trump has, um, like he looked like he suffered a stroke in the way that he walks, and that his health, like he's had MRIs done and everything. And it got me thinking, why the hell don't we like mandate physical fitness tests for our president? Like we went Biden, who for sure had dementia and other shit wrong with him. And then like now Trump looks like he might have some stuff wrong with him. And
Because
but
we don't
they're
really
old. They're really
understand.
old. Like they're really, really, really old people. And like of course they have health issues. Why the hell are we allowing these old people to be the public face of the country? Like, isn't that weird?
Um, it is, well, I wouldn't say it's the fact that they're old. I would say it's the fact that um
Look at Obama, who was healthy when he went into office. He looks like he aged like 20 years in the course of eight. Like The Office, the stress ages the shit out of you. But like we don't make health a requirement to be the president.
All right, so I want you to kind of like, so I've talked a lot. So Rachel just showed me what might be her mucus plug. So she might go into labor so next week or in an hour or whatever. So I want to like kind of get to bed somewhat
All right, we just end the
soonish.
call then.
It does not end the call because it's she might not go into labor, probably won't. But like I want like any questions you have because I want you to kind of like ask me like, well, like what you can do right now that'd be most impactful, like, or share with me what you think you can do that'd be most impactful right now. And then like we kind of like talk about that, what you think I could do the most impactful. Like I wanna because like you called me last night and you were like, what if they cancel us? And I was like, dude, I hope they cancel us. Like I'm planning again, it's like jujitsu. It's like we have to make the inevitable work in our favor. It's like, what if he tries to hit you? It's like I'm planning on that. It's like this is about what happens 4 steps later. So it's like if they try to cancel us, basically I'm looking at it this way. It's like if they try to like if they cancel us, it's not a question of like if but when almost. If they never cancel us, there's no problem. As long as we can always speak our mind. You know what I'm saying? Like let's say we can speak our mind, they never cancel us. Then there's no problem. Let's say speaking our mind gets us canceled inevitably, and it's only a matter of when. Well, then isn't it better to get canceled sooner when there's when they like basically when they have less control? Because it's like
Well, no,
I
because
want to know what we're dealing with now. Like if YouTube isn't the platform people think it is, then let's make Rumble more popular while Rumble's still relevant. Because like
yeah,
maybe
but
in
or
three
we could get
years,
popular and then take that
YouTube
over to
buys out
YouTube once
Rumble.
they
What if
cancel us.
YouTube buys out Rumble in 3 years and then there's no one else? You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is like if YouTube is going to try to dominate free speech and make it illegal, we should find that out now and start countering it now because basically as long as there are children with internet access, there will be people who will seek the truth. So we have to prevent abortion from killing the entire next generation before that happens. It's like, well, how do we make sure that doesn't happen? It's like, well, we have to speak the truth. So it's like that's basically the situation. It's like if we speak the truth, then people will know how to be healthy. They'll know why they should have families. They'll know how to have families. And then they'll have families, and then there'll always be young children who are like, Mommy, Daddy, this person on TV said this thing, but like that wasn't true. And it's like they probably need to have a lot of kids to do that because if they only have one kid, it's going to be easier to brainwash the one kid. So it's like we need a certain environment for truth to like thrive. And if we want our business to thrive, we need truth because, like, I need truth to stay alive. And so do other people. So basically, untruth has become our biggest competitor. Like, I'm wondering why untruth has dominated the pharmaceutical industry to the degree where I've literally had to go completely rogue, which is why I'm talking about taking over the world because it's the only logical conclusion of this. It's like, well,
Because the
they're
truth,
going to probably like,
the truth doesn't necessarily always serve the person who has the most money. I mean, look at why isn't everyone telling the truth on the Epstein files? All the billionaires are doing like they're denying and they're pushing the blame on someone else. I mean, it's the PR playbook for it. I mean, why are they doing that? Why aren't they telling the truth? Because it doesn't
because it
help
doesn't
them make
benefit them.
money.
So it's like, exactly. It's like, exactly.
Like
So
telling
it's
the
like,
truth about magnesium stearate doesn't help because it allows you to pump the shit out for cheaper.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, they just don't really care because they don't care. Like, I mean, like maybe if they developed health issues and they understood how I could help them, maybe they care. But you know what I think? I don't even think people are going to give me the fair shake to evaluate what I'm saying unless they realize they can't stop. So it's not really that people can't stop me because they could stop me. I'm very stoppable, which is why this is so miraculous that this is going to happen. It's that they won't stop. Like they won't make the decisions necessary to stop me at the times where it's possible to make those decisions.
Like that,
So it won't
why did
happen.
Logan Paul's Prime drink have shit electrolyte levels in it? It's because he ran it on the platform of, oh, look at us, we have more electrolytes than Gatorade, but all of our electrolytes are potassium, which you don't really actually need because it's mostly sodium, but sodium tastes salty and people don't like that as much. So we're just gonna put a bunch of potassium in it and then tell everyone we have more electrolytes than Gatorade.
Well, I think the Logan Paul thing was its own like I think basically So he tried to do it the other way. He noticed that the health space. So Logan Paul actually made the same observations as me, which is why I know this is going to work because it's like I'm seeing people, they're all trying to do it because they don't realize what the issue is because everyone, like, again, people with really bad insomnia don't talk about it because then they get treated like crazy people. So that's one reason I talk about insomnia so much is like, what's going to happen is everyone's going to call me crazy. Well, basically, what's going to happen is first, I'm going to talk about insomnia a bunch. And then I do soon. Go upstairs, April. I'll be upstairs soon. I need you to go upstairs and wait for me. Okay, so now this is going to be content on how to get your kids to not bother you while you're doing business stuff. April, I'm going to give you really good cuddles if you go upstairs and wait for me. Deal? Okay. Go upstairs, Katarina. Okay. So basically, and that's one of the things like I've kind of built this around is like I have to build this while doing that for this to work. Let's just go till the meeting closes.
Yep.
So I have to do this while doing that for this to work. So basically, Logan Paul doesn't understand like there's one problem in health. Like in any given situation, there's one big problem people need to solve. Like there's usually one big thing. It's like the one thing. It's like if this was solved, then everything else would fall into place. In health, that's sleep. And I'm the only one who's figured it out because if there was anyone else, I would have found them because I've looked everywhere because this shit is literally tortured me because the Soviets used sleep deprivation to torture people. It's fucking torture. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. Like, whatever. Anyway, so that's like, I just realized that. Like, I've realized that like no one understands sleep. So maybe without me, but I don't know though, because here's the problem. Maybe without me, it never gets figured out because the incentive structure isn't there. So, like, I think that literally, in order for my knowledge to become incorporated into the culture, because that's the real thing I'm trying to fix. It's like if that knowledge was in the culture, I wouldn't have had to suffer as much as I did. And then I could go live
Well,
a
you're gonna
normal
have to go
life and
against
not
the
have to
ad
deal with
dollars of McDonald's and all these like PepsiCo, because the moment your knowledge gets integrated into the culture, people realize, oh shit, we're literally poisoning ourselves with like Red 40 and all this other stuff and like seed oils. Like, dude, seed oils have like the fact that they're bad for you hasn't even actually got into the culture
So
yet.
here's an observation that ties into this. That's really profound, and this is like I'm glad we're on this vein
I
because
had
this is
someone
like
tell me that they were kind of radical with their health. I'm like, oh, really? How so? They don't eat seed oils. I'm like, oh, wow.
that's like yeah, that's like so you care. They probably still eat seed oils. They just haven't bothered to look up what a seed oil is, so they don't really know, and they're not thorough because it's more of an idea.
No, but like,
I know because I've worked with people. So basically, what I realize is, in order, like, okay, like I think that honestly, like without me, um, this would never really come out because the incentive structure is not there, and we're basically the problem's going to get so bad. Okay, like a lot of drug overdoses, I think, are probably the result of people who can't sleep overdosing on heroin because they just in so much pain. Like, I think that without me doing this work, our culture will literally be consumed by a demon named insomnia who operates by getting people to kill themselves through despair. And if you look at it, not sleeping is the greatest risk factor for suicide. So I literally think that there's like a demonic force that's been conspiring to destroy the culture by spreading despair through this mechanism. And I literally think that I need to like I basically needed to take that on the face in order to figure out what was going on, in order to articulate it enough to the point where it could be stopped. But I basically think that like the momentum's already so much that the only thing, okay, like the only thing that I found that motivates insomniacs to like speak their truth is me going full, I'm taking over the world because I had insomnia and you didn't listen, fuck you. And then they'll actually tell what's happening to them because they're like, wow, if that guy can say that, then I can say that I actually can't sleep and that I am not crazy and that screw you for making me think I'm crazy. Once people do that more and more, which they've already started doing because of my online activity, this gets more attention. I don't believe that that attention again is going to even do anything, but all of this basically directs attention back to my activity because I'm the only person who's actually talking about this. there by the time you're watching this, there will probably be other copycats, but you can go back and see that I'm the only person really discussing this issue in its present form. Once I'm not going to get credit for that, and I don't need it. But basically, you're going to have a lot of people who care more about temporary fame than actually long-term impact. That's why there's only a long game. So basically, once the influencer business owner class realizes that what I'm saying is true by witnessing my success, not only are they going to become my first best customers, which they already kind of have started to, um, but so they're going to promote my idea. Like the only thing that's going to get people to really value their health and understand the magnitude of the innovation I've created is if people start using my ideas to take over the world. But again, they're not going to actually be able to succeed at that because they haven't done the rest of the work. Like they haven't like spent 10 years trying to follow these things to their logical conclusion. They're like me 10 years ago who's realized that like intermittent fasting works if you do it exactly this way. And then actually takes that to its logical conclusion. And then I realized that worked well enough that I could persistently do it. Like there's so much into this, but basically I've realized I have to get people to realize that this is going to work, that this stuff even works at a mass scale. And the world domination talk, it all basically feeds into itself. Like at some point, people are going to realize like the reason I'm doing what I'm doing, like they're going to realize that I'm succeeding, which they've just started to realize that I'm actually succeeding, which is cool. Once people realize that I'm succeeding, which they've started to, they're going to start asking themselves how, given that my strategy is so crazy. I just film unedited videos and I make ridiculous statements like I'm going to control the world. This has already started happening too. Like I've just planned ahead for all these things. So basically, the end conclusion of this is world domination. I'm just the first person to arrive at that conclusion. So I've structured this in such a way that at every stage I benefit. And I've built it so that like it's ultimately like once you realize that's what I'm doing, like even if you hate my guts, you'll realize that someone else could just do the same thing and that you ultimately want me to do it because I'm going to help you live longer fundamentally. Like fundamentally, the results of my actions will help people live longer, whereas the results of other people's actions won't. So again, it's like the one of the master strokes is that even if someone realized every single thing that I was doing to the point where they could stop me or would even be motivated to, they would simultaneously lose all motivation to stop me because they'd realize that the odds of someone else doing this are 100%, but the odds of someone else doing this in a way that benefits them are 0%. And that's why I'm communicating this the way I am. I just, I don't know. Like, is this ordained by God? Is this how the collective unconscious works? Is this fate? Like, I don't really know. I think there's a lot of things that are fate. One thing I'd like to share too is that I don't think that I'm that unique. I think that once people see me doing this, they're going to start doing the same thing. And I think there's going to be a giant cascade of people doing the same things, which is why I've kind of built my business based on the symbolism of victors, because ultimately I'm only going to remain in power if the most successful people of mine in the next generation want me to remain in power. And the
Yes.
only reason they'd want me to remain in
CPG
power
Dan,
is if they
Dan,
realize that I'm
CPG
going to help them.
Gray's Keys to Power video.
Precisely. So they've realized by seeing all this stuff, they've realized that I actually have spent the time thinking about it necessary to create a situation that's truly win-win. So then they just be like, fuck it, it's win-win. And but that's what I need to do in order
Yeah,
for this to work.
we
Like
got less than a minute.
I know, but I'm saying I need like it's just interesting that like words are this powerful. People underestimated the printing press and they underestimate the handheld video recorder even more. And they underestimate the iPhone to such a degree that by the time
Yeah.
they fully estimated it, we'll already have a multi generational system of feudalism in place.
All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye.